No, because you brought up, I know fantasy, I'm trying to think of other ones that are so popular with book talk specifically and kind of, like you said, like people bonding over it. So I was curious of like your perspective on how that like community bonding has impacted like book sales and what books are really popular, because I think that's such an interesting part of all of this.
I definitely think the power of TikTok and how like a bunch of young people getting together with their love of reading has changed the entire like I don't know, book market. I know before TikTok that Barnes and Nobles was actually going out of business and they were really struggling. And now we've literally like revolutionized reading. And I think it's made people feel okay with the type of books that they're reading, because I know a lot of the times people will say that romance books are juvenile and not considered like real books. But I think because there's such a mass audience like bonding together with reading romance books, we're all just like hyping each other up and realizing like, yeah, we these are real books and there is nothing to be ashamed about like reading a romance book. So I really really like that community aspect of book talk. Because I remember before book talk, I was embarrassed to go into the romance section. I was like, I don't want anyone to see me in here. But now it's like flooded with people inside always, and it's so nice to see.
Because and that also goes into I was kind of curious about like your thoughts on some of the tropes. I don't even know if it would be tropes, but almost I think like the sad girl book, like those kind of things of how book talk has created almost its own their own genres with it, which I thought
Mhm.
was interesting, and maybe why you think like sad girl, for example, has become so popular.
Yeah, it's just this idea of people capturing identities that you had no idea had a name, and it makes you feel so seen. So like sad girl literature, when I first saw a TikTok about that, I freaked out because it was like, wait, I absolutely love this aesthetic, this type of writing, and I didn't know it had a name. So it really helps you, it honestly helps you find books like that are more specific than just like fiction, you know? Girls, yeah, they just get it. They know exactly these different parts of yourself that you want to connect to. And sometimes I want to connect to my sad girl, and sometimes I want to read books about female rage, which is like another thing that I've seen a lot of books about. And it's like, yes, like we all get it, and it's glorious. I love it.
And it's so true because I mean I know like that whole I wonder too if it's kind of now that I'm thinking about it like um the like teenage girls kind of mentality of being in your early 20s and still like perceiving ourselves as teenage girls, and I think
Yeah.
it's kind of hone in on that weird identity crisis that I think like you said it's so hard to find, especially after you read like a book that's so good, to find something specific. And I used to always turn to Goodreads and try, um, and you almost have, I remember there's like a list feature. It kind of reminds me of TikTok sometimes, but it's kind of knocked out of the park there in terms of helping to find um, new stuff, which is exciting.
Yeah, and it
Um,
makes you feel better that like you're not the only person feeling lost in their 20s. I know that's actually
mhm,
like an aesthetic in, on its own. I
mhm.
keep saying aesthetic, but it's just because I see videos that are like titled "Lost in Your 20s" books, and then
Yeah,
it'll give you recommendations. So yeah, I'm like, okay, other people are feeling this as well. Shouldn't be ashamed of it. So
yeah,
it's like
bizarre.
Pinterest combined with like Goodreads combined with TikTok. Like that's what my
Mhm.
For You page has been recently. It's very like curated videos and yeah, I just want to be that girl with the tote bag in the rain. So yeah, I
What?
love it. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I also, because I'm kind of obsessed with your sense of humor and how I feel like it kind of it sets you apart from a lot of other creators. But I was kind of curious of how you found that kind of comedic element that I think a lot of other creators don't have in this realm of book talk.
I mean, first of all, thank you so much. Second of all, I think I mean, I obviously get it from like my family. My mom's probably the funniest person I've ever met. So Um, Thank you to her. But I grew up watching a lot of Saturday Night Live. So the idea of like these small skits have always been in my head. And I was a big theater person in high school. So I just like performing and like doing accents and whatever. So even though I've learned I'm not good at it, I always used to pride myself on accents. And then the second I did my first accent on TikTok, I was just annihilated for it. So good to know, because I really thought I was doing something, and it turns out I was doing nothing. So yeah, I think SNL and just like skits in general has a big impact on how my comedy. Yeah.
Mhm. Since you are a fan of like the Love Hypothesis and other ones like that, I was curious what your thoughts are. And also like um the popularity of fan fiction like being so big that I think a lot of authors start there now, which is interesting.
I love how fan fiction you can change the ending to stories that you didn't like into something new. What a cool idea. And you know, a lot of people hate on it because they think it's silly and childish, but you know how much work it takes to write a whole book, and especially with pre-existing people or characters, to then change parts about them, about those characters enough that it's believable, is so impressive and powerful, because I think fan fiction has single-handedly made Draco Malfoy into a hero, where now we see him as someone who has got like you know, a dark past but is redeemed. And I think before that people sort of only saw him as a villain. So I really admire fan fiction writers.